A suffocating stillness choked Midgard. The once vibrant sun, usually a playful companion to the rolling green hills, had become a pale ghost, veiled by an unnatural bruise of purple creeping across the sky. An oppressive silence blanketed the land, broken only by the frantic whispers of wind through parched leaves. Farmers, their faces etched with a fear born of generations-old stories, looked skyward, their eyes searching for the harbinger of the coming storm. This wasn't a summer squall, a mere tempest that would cleanse the land and bring life-giving rain. This was a chilling premonition, a herald of something far more ominous, a storm unlike any Midgard had ever witnessed. In Asgard, a storm of a different kind brewed within the heart of Thor, the god of thunder. The usually jovial warrior, his red beard a fiery beacon, and his laughter a booming reassurance in times of trouble, paced the halls of Valhalla with a thunderous intensity. His brow, usually clear and open, was now furrowed with a deep worry that mirrored the darkening sky above. Mjolnir, his mighty hammer forged in the heart of a dying star, usually rested comfortably at his hip. But now it was gripped so tightly his knuckles shone white, the veins in his forearms bulging with the effort. The polished surface of the hammer, usually reflecting a joyous radiance, seemed to absorb the growing darkness, its once vibrant glow now a dull, menacing hum. Across the vast chamber, on his obsidian throne, sat Odin, the All-Father. His one eye, the wellspring of wisdom and the bane of those who sought to deceive him, glittered with a knowing sorrow that chilled the very air. A long, gnarled finger stroked his raven beard, the rhythmic tick-tock of ravens' claws on the stone floor, the only sound that dared to interrupt the growing tension. Finally, Odin's voice rumbled, deep and heavy, echoing through the cavernous hall like an avalanche. Loki, the name, hung heavy in the air, a hissing accusation. A figure materialized from the shadows, his form flickering and dancing like a flame teased by a playful breeze. This was Loki, the trickster god, his face, usually a canvas for mischievous amusement, now a mask of feigned innocence. Loki, Odin repeated, his voice laced with a weary anger, your mischief has finally landed us in true peril. Peril? Whatever could you mean? All-Father Loki drawled, his voice dripping with honeyed insincerity. His eyes, usually sparkling with amusement, darted nervously across the room, a flicker of something akin to fear betraying his facade. Thor, however, wasn't fooled. He could smell Loki's treachery a mile away, its stench as acrid as the ozone that now crackled in the Asgardian air. Don't play your games, brother, he roared, his voice a low tremor that sent shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned warriors. Jormungandr stirs. The name hung in the air like a curse, a chilling whisper that brought a collective gasp from the assembled gods. Jormungandr, the World Serpent, a creature of monstrous size, coiled around the entirety of Midgard, its tail grasping its own mouth in a symbol of endless destruction. Legend spoke of the day when Jormungandr would finally uncoil, signaling the end of all things, Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. Loki's carefully constructed mask faltered for a fleeting moment, a flicker of genuine fear replacing his usual smirk. Surely you jest, brother, he stammered, his voice losing its usual confidence. The Midgardian myths are full of exaggeration. But even as he spoke, a tremor shook Asgard, a tremor so violent it caused the very foundations of the realm to groan in protest. From the heavens above, a low, guttural growl resonated, a sound so primal it sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest warriors. It was a sound that echoed through the very fabric of existence, a sound that left no room for doubt. Jormungandr was no myth it was stirring awake. You've awakened him with your meddling, Loki Thor roared, his voice a challenge to the very storm brewing outside. Now, it falls upon me to mend your mess. With a thunderous crackle that shook the very foundations of Valhalla, Thor stormed out of the chamber. His red cloak billowed behind him like a maelstrom, his eyes flashing with a righteous fury that mirrored the lightning already dancing across the darkening sky. He knew the only way to reach Jormungandr was through the Well of Erd, a gateway that snaked through the roots of Yggdrasil, the World Tree, and led to the depths of the ocean where the serpent resided. The journey was treacherous, a gauntlet woven from the nightmares of the most seasoned warriors. Thor battled monstrous krakens, their tentacles lashing out like obsidian whips, their eyes burning with malevolent hunger. Their colossal forms dwarfed even the mightiest longships, and their razor-sharp beaks could shear through steel with terrifying ease. But Thor, fueled by a righteous fury and wielding Mjolnir with the strength of a tempest, carved a path through the onslaught. Each blow of his hammer sent shockwaves rippling through the water, momentarily stunning the colossal creatures, allowing him a fleeting moment to press onward. He navigated treacherous whirlpools that threatened to swallow him whole. These swirling abysses, remnants of ancient battles between gods and primordial beings, churned with a malevolent energy. The very fabric of reality seemed to thin around them, threatening to pull Thor into an endless void. But Thor, his grip tightening on Mjolnir, channeled his godly power, forming a shield of crackling lightning around him. The raw energy of the storm repelled the pull of the whirlpools, allowing him to slip past their hungry maws. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Thor reached the Well of Erd. The gateway, shrouded in an unnatural mist, resembled a giant, pulsating eye staring back at him from the depths. The water churned with an unnatural violence, a reflection of the turmoil within Jormungandr itself. The very air crackled with a malevolent energy, a tangible manifestation of the serpent's awakened rage. With a battle cry that echoed through the very depths of the ocean, a cry that would have shattered mountains on Midgard, Thor plunged into the swirling vortex. The world became a blur of churning water and razor-sharp coral. Bioluminescent creatures, both beautiful and terrifying, darted around him, their luminescence a stark contrast to the oppressive darkness that seemed to press in from all sides. He fought against the crushing pressure of the ocean depths, his lungs burning for air, but his determination unwavering. Finally, he emerged, gasping for breath, into a vast cavern unlike anything he had ever witnessed. The cavern walls were slick with bioluminescent moss, casting an eerie, otherworldly glow. In the center, coiled around a colossal obsidian pillar that seemed to hold up the very weight of the ocean, lay Jormungandr. The serpent's colossal form filled his vision, dwarfing even the largest kraken Thor had faced. Its scales, the size of dinner plates, shimmered with an otherworldly luminescence, reflecting the bioluminescent moss in a kaleidoscope of colors. One massive eye, the size of a mountain lake, glared at him with cold hatred. Its pupil, a bottomless abyss, seemed to devour the very light, and its iris, a swirling vortex of churning green, reflected the coming storm. As Jormungandr exhaled, a wave of fetid air washed over Thor, carrying the stench of decay and the primordial ooze of creation. A primal fear threatened to engulf Thor, a fear so deep it clawed at his very essence. But then, he looked down at Mjolnir, the symbol of his power and his responsibility. He remembered the faces of the people of Midgard, their hopes, their dreams, their very existence hanging in the balance. He remembered his oath to protect them, to be their shield against the forces of chaos. And in that moment, fear gave way to a steely resolve. Jormungandr Thor boomed, his voice echoing through the cavern, "You will not bring about Ragnarok today. Not while I draw breath." The serpent, its massive form coiling and uncoiling in a display of raw power, let out a deafening roar that shook the very foundations of the cavern. The water churned violently, and tremors ran through the ocean floor. The battle was about to begin, a clash of titans that would decide the fate of not just Midgard, but all realms. As Thor raised Mjolnir high, a bolt of lightning, mirroring his determination, split the darkness, illuminating the stage for a battle unlike any ever witnessed.